Good morning, Brian Newman, the Fire Behavior Analyst for Incident Management Team 3. We'll go over the fire today about what the expected actions for the fire behavior and the outlook for the day looks like. So I'm going to start down here in the Janesville area. There is still some activity on top of the escarpment to the west of the actual ridgetop there. Some activity in interior, and we expect that to continue today as the day progresses and warms up. There will be some smoke columns coming out of there, but nothing really threatening the line necessarily. There's been a lot of work, good work that's been done on both ends of that spot over there, and things are looking pretty decent. Coming across over towards Susanville area, the little spot that pushed off to the east here towards town, things are looking really good. Minimal activity on the eastern part of that, and we expect that to continue today. They're just really getting there, mopping up some of those heavy hot spots and the heavy dead and down fuels. On the other side of that mountain over here on Hamilton Mountainside, there is still some heat left in there, and you will still see some smoke columns and some activity through the day there, but again, nothing's threatening the line. Things are looking really good in there. We'll continue to see those smolder out over the next few days. Coming across a little bit further to the west in the Westwood area and up the A21 road, there is still some interior heat in there. Expect to see some smoke production, but it's primarily out in the middle where there's some heavy dead and down, some of those logs and stump holes burning out. None of it is a threat to the line, but expect to see that continue all along this area here if you do go up in the A21 road area. Coming up towards Silver Lake, there's some activity up in there. It's well interior for the most part. None of it's threatening the lines. We do not anticipate any movement of the fire towards Highway 44 out of that Silver Lake area, but expect to see smoke columns and expect to see some activity if you are in that area. Coming further north, out towards the Butte Lake area, the fire has been the most active in this area in the last couple of days. And so in order to deal with that, there has been some firing operations overnight. And so there is quite a bit of smoke production, quite a bit of activity, and crews are working towards keeping that activity minimized for the move to the north, but expect to see quite a bit of activity and smoke coming out of that part of the fire. Moving further west into the park area, the line that runs from Butte Lake over towards Summit Lake, quite a bit of activity in there. That fire is progressing north in towards the old Reading Scar area, and so expect to see quite a bit of smoke production, most amount of activity all along this northern edge. We did have a spot fire across the park highway yesterday, and so they were able to pick that up for the most part, but again, increased activity, and primarily just due to the fact heavy fuels, higher elevations, and will clear first from that smoke. Moving down to the Childs Mineral area, the fire that pushed across Highway 36 is being held up right now. No activity expected to push further to the west. Things are looking really good in there. There is still smoke reduction out of that spot that slopped over there, but don't expect it to move any further west. Coming a little bit off to the east of that into the Lost Creek Plateau area. This part's been challenging the crews in there, so it's really heavy, dead and down fuels, really steep terrain, so they are working it in there, but there is quite a bit of activity that's pushing around in here and producing smoke columns and is producing some activity as it's burning up to the northeast, but it's burning back into itself for the most part. They're just trying to minimize that spread. Coming down further to the south here across most of the rest of the fire, it's really just in a monitor, patrol, and mop-up phase. Very little heat activity in there, primarily within the control lines. No threat to the control lines, and we expect that to continue. The biggest caveat we want to put out there is that as you get repopulated back into the Chester, Westwood area, those pine needles that have been dried out, they are falling onto the ground and have the potential to fall over smoking stump holes, some ground fire, and the like, and those dried needles can ignite and can burn. None of those are any threat to any control lines, and we do not expect it to cause any major issues, but just be aware that that is a possibility if you are out and around that area. So overall on the fire, we do have quite a bit of smoke on the fire this morning, and as that starts to thin out, you will see that increase in activity, and you'll see those smoke columns starting to pop up in those areas we just talked about. If in the areas that the smoke doesn't clear, the fire should be moderated, but overall, we expect the same pattern to continue for the next few days at the least.